that notification bell. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for yet another video. Now this video per se is more different than the rest of the videos that I have previously done, which I believe I have about 3 of them out there already. Well, yeah, it's a little different. Like in my last video, I believe, if you guys can remember, I was talking about journalism, how I'm going back to school for journalism and that sort of thing. So the area of expertise that I'm leaning towards is crime and investigative journalism, where I'll be talking a lot about, some solved cold cases that have yet to be solved, missing persons, murders, all that type of stuff. Like, it's really, really dear to my heart, and it has been for a while now, since I was a kid growing up. And I'll get into a little bit about how I got into doing this type of stuff. It's been a long time coming. Okay, so to fill you guys in on, oh, that light is bright. Okay, but to fill you guys in on where my passion came from with this, because doing this is not easy for a lot of people. Like, you definitely have to have the gut for it and everything. But the way I got more drawn into this type of stuff is when I was a kid, and it gets me emotional and everything. So when I was a kid, I was watching these, I used to always watch all those type of stories, news with my mom and that side of thing. And it was one story in particular that came on. It was about a little girl. She was found in Canada. Nobody knew who this little girl was, but the way that she was found was horrible. It was extremely horrible. I can't remember who it was. I believe it was a guy who was walking past, and they discovered her. They found her, but the only thing that they found was her head. It's horrible, I know. That's all they found was her head. They found her head. They didn't find no other parts of her body and everything. And it's like mysterious. And still to this day, it's like her story just went off out of the blue sea. I haven't heard anything else about it. But they found her head, basically. And she was known as Jane Doe. She was African American. They was looking for who her parents could have been, because nobody reported a child, I guess, like her missing or anything. And they never found the other parts of her body, from my understanding. I'm still doing more research on it. I'm trying to discover the story again, because yet again, I was just a kid when I came across it. I probably was about 7 years old. Yeah, I had to be about 7 years old, because I was pretty young back then. I was in elementary school. And ever since then, I've just been drawn to, I became addicted to watching news, watching crime stories, America's Most Wanted, Law and Order, SVU, you name it, CSI. I loved all those type of shows. I grew up watching New York Undercover, really, really heavy. And it's just been something that's been like dear to my heart and everything. And, I want to be an investigative reporter. I am inspired by Nancy Grace so much. I want to be just like her one day. I would love to meet her one day as well, but time will come. But I'm going to give this my all, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So just sit back and relax, and I'm going to share a story with you guys. Tanya Kach, born October 14th, 1981, grew up in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. She lived with her father and her stepmother. She did not have the greatest life growing up. They did not have a lot of money, but Things got much more complicated when she mysteriously disappeared in 1996. She was 14 years old and studied at Cornell Middle School. Thomas, and 37-year-old security guard at the school, befriended Tanya around the time of her kidnapping, often taking her out of classes to talk to her. Because of her problems at home, Tanya fell right into Thomas's trap. She was soon overcome with love for this man. According to other students, Thomas was very popular at Cornell Middle School. All of the girls loved him and thought he was cute. This seemed like a totally normal and popular middle school guy. However, he wasn't in middle school and far from normal. He was 23 years older in age and sexually drawn to younger girls. Weirdly enough, he never had any complaints against him from students, parents, or teachers. He was even considered a model employee by many. Over time, Thomas convinced Tanya to run away from her family and move in with him. On February the 10th, 1996, Tanya gathered her belongings and left her home. Her parents thought she just ran away like she's done in the past and didn't report her missing for weeks. They hadn't heard from her, and she wasn't usually gone this long. They were beginning to worry. With no word from her and due to her history of running away, the authorities would soon give up their search after just a few days. After being allowed some time outside of the house, 10 years following her disappearance, 24-year-old Tanya, also known as Nikki Allen, began to realize that her relationship with Thomas was not normal. She escaped from captivity on March 21st, 2006, with the help of a man named Joe Sparico, a grocery store owner in her neighborhood. By revealing her true identity to him, she explained to the owner that she was a prisoner of Thomas Host since she was 14, and her real name was Tanya Kach. She asked him to send the police to the house. The news quickly spread of her escape and return. Everyone wanted to know the story of what happened to Tanya Kach. Her father was shocked to learn that he had just been a few miles away the whole time. Tanya was happy to be reunited with her family, but has since become estranged from her father. Tanya had written a New York Times best-selling book titled Memoir of a Milk Carton Kid, the Tanya Nicole Kach story, where she documented her trying ordeal. In the beginning, during the first 4 years, she was not allowed outside of the house. Thomas lived with his parents and son and went to great strengths to keep Tanya hidden from them. She was confined entirely to his second-story bedroom and had to go to the toilet in a bucket. Tanya was kept in the bedroom of Thomas Host. His parents lived in the house with him the entire 10 years she was there. However, they claim they didn't know she was there for the first 9 years. Tanya said she was told to keep as quiet as possible. She had to hide in the closet if she heard someone coming. She was stuck reading and watching TV all day long to keep herself occupied. Most of the time, she only ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches along with a banana and a can of Faygo soda pop. About once a week in the night, Thomas would lead her down to a cellar with cold concrete floors to take a shower. She said in an interview, quote, "I was fine at first, I thought. I was in love and my sacrifices was a labor of my love for Tom. Soon, however, the ordeal began to take its toll. In 2000, Thomas created a new identity for Tanya, Nikki Allen, and introduced her to his parents as his girlfriend that would be moving in with him. After this, Tanya was allowed to leave the house occasionally with a strict curfew. 10 years later, after she was originally coerced to run off with Thomas, Tanya escaped. In 2007, Thomas pleaded guilty to 3 counts of involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, aggravated indecent assault, statutory sexual assault, interfering with the custody of a child, corruption of a minor, and child endangerment. Before his trial, Thomas Host stabbed himself. He was treated and taken to a mental hospital, which did not hold up in court, by the way. He was placed under house arrest, which is kind of ironic considering that's where Tanya was kept as well. Later, he was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison. Tanya Kach isn't much different from many other kidnapping cases. The main difference is how she was taken. She was taken over a period of time. She was lured by a predator. Many questions why she didn't leave sooner. She was in love with her captor in the beginning, but it soon turned into fear. She was afraid for herself. She was also told her family would be killed if she left. As a young woman, she felt stuck in her situation. Since her escape, Kach attempted to sue numerous government organizations for their failing of her, including the police and the school board. All were thrown out in court. Tanya is doing well today through her marriage. In September 2018, she has a stepdaughter and a stepson, and is a grandmother to her stepson's young children. Okay, so my thoughts on this story is bizarre. It's extremely crazy. This guy, he's a manipulator, he's a predator, and he preys on innocent children. He preys on innocent children, and many would say, like, why she didn't leave earlier. Well, I mean, you gotta picture yourself in her situation. Like, nobody knows what they would have done if they were in her shoes. Like, me myself being a victim of rape, I was sexually abused as a child. I almost died and everything, and that's a whole nother story. If you guys want to hear about that, I can do a story time and tell you guys about that one. I was like 6 years old when it happened, but bringing it back to her, it's easy for one person to judge the next and say, oh, I would have did this or I would have did that. But unless you're in that situation, you don't know what you would have done. I mean, you guys have to picture yourself in this young girl's position. Here you have a 14-year-old girl who was already going through things at home, dealing with whatever she was dealing with at home. And here she comes to school. It's this guy, granted he's older than her, but he builds that trust with her. He builds that trust and he builds that love, and he's probably telling her things that she haven't heard before, that type of thing. And that's how these predators do, they lure you in slowly, making you gain their trust. And once they have your trust, they have your mind. And that's basically what happened to her. She's left with him willingly. She left willingly because, I guess she felt, she was a young girl thinking that's the right decision. I'm pretty sure she didn't think that once she got there, that he was going to change or things was going to be different, and then she was going to be held hostage against her will and that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure that wasn't what was going on in her mind. And, and they said, I've done a lot of research on this particular story. For 9 years, she was not able to leave out. So during that 9th year, that's when she was able to leave out. And a lot of people said she should have just ran, she should have did this, she should have done that. But a lot of us, we find ourselves in similar situations, where we're dealing with a guy and we know that he's not right for us, but our heart is still gleaning and we still stay, even though we know that it'll be better off for us to leave. And that's what a lot of domestic violence victims go through. It's a mind thing. Once they have your mind, they have you. And I give myself, for example, in relationships, it haven't been easy, that sort of thing. And, like when you love someone, you just want things to work out and you're just, going about it all the wrong way, and you always wonder in the back of your mind, like, why am I still here? Like, why am I still dealing with this? That type of thing. And, and sometimes, it can take you years to even leave a relationship, even if it's not abusive, but you're dealing with your significant other and he's continually doing the same thing after time. And, and you're continually being patient with him, forgiving with him, and keeps taking him back, but he's keep doing the same thing. So, and I've been through that and everything, and it took me a while to leave my ex. And yes, like 5 years, pitting up with the ball, thinking your significant other is going to change. That's what I dealt with. I dealt with that. So I'm not, me listening to this story, doing my research on this story, if I was in her position, I can't say Okay, oh, I would have left. I would have left because I don't know what I would have done if I was in that situation. Of course, I would probably want to muscle up the courage to leave, without triggering him, because at that point, he had her mind. He had her mind. And once a person has your mind, like I said that before, they have you. So, and that's what I believe that I went through in my last relationship. I believe my ex had my mind in some weird type of way, but I stayed even though I wouldn't normally had put up with the stuff that I put up with, and I can discuss that in another video. Although these are real stories, most information was taken from True Stories of Law and Order Special Victims Unit. As a note and a reminder, this is an awesome book, especially if you love Law and Order SVU as much as I do. I highly recommend it. Now, sharing my videos shine light on many of the horror and realities that many faces daily. Some are able to recover and some die fighting for their lives, including innocent children. I'm not just telling stories, I'm changing lives and raising awareness. So remember, when you share my videos, you are raising awareness and changing lives too. Thanks so much for watching and tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Now remember, be safe, watch your surroundings, and when traveling at night, always travel in a group. Take care.